Okay, so I think I've completed decision making, right?
So I introduced this idea of exam technique a couple of videos ago in one of my verbal reasoning videos. Well, I've only dropped two, so it was the long 45-minute one. If you guys haven't watched all of that, I totally understand. You guys are busy. But in there, I talked about the idea of the importance of exam technique in terms of choosing which questions to do. Okay, and especially in quantitative reasoning and decision making, that these are both very, very crucial concepts. So what I thought I would do is, following on from how popular the QR video was, and how many people said they wanted to see a similar thing with decision making, I thought I would spend a couple of minutes talking to you guys about my general strategy for decision making, which is something that I've tried and kind of trialed and tested over many, many years. And this is what I found to be the most effective use of my time personally. Okay. And I'll talk to you guys about the theory behind this, about the reason why I think it works, and the reasons also for why I think you guys should experiment with your own ideas. Okay, so obviously you can listen to me and you can try out my ideas, but every single person is different. We have our own different strengths and our different weaknesses. So therefore, what works for me might not be what works best for you. It might work for you, but there might be other things that work even better for you. And so one of the ideas that's really, really important to think about is that this time is basically like your training ground routine, right? So this is like an analogy that I like to use. So kind of the top sports teams, for example, during their training times, they try out lots and lots of crazy different things. The majority of them won't work, and the majority of them won't make their way to the actual game when they play, right? But for example, the weird corner routine or a different free kick routine might work. But if you find something that does work, then you can use it. 95% of the time, the things that you try out will be useful. So whether that be, for example, in verbal reasoning, it might be trying to do all of the historical passages first, or trying to do all the scientific passages first, or that kind of thing. But here's something that I've kind of collated over the years, which I think is useful. So what I'm going to do is, this is one of the mocks, one of the live mocks that I've uploaded on my channel. So if you guys haven't seen that video before, please do go and check it out. And it's everything. Every video on my channel is quite clearly divided into playlists, which would be easy enough to find. So this decision making was one that I did, and so what you guys can potentially do after watching this video is you can go back to my video and you can see how I implemented the strategy that I'm going to talk about. Okay, so a couple of things to just talk about in general. So some of the key ideas with decision making is, of course, syllogisms are worth 2 marks each. Okay, and then you've got your interpreting information, which is also worth 2 marks. Those are kind of like the big hitters. Then you kind of have the nice questions in the middle, which is the recognizing assumptions, which you can do fast and get accurately. And for me, I feel like the probabilities are a similar kind of sort to recognizing assumptions in the sense that I can do them fast and accurately. So obviously 35 is a bit of a blip here, but normally I get 100% on both of these. Logical puzzles is going to be a big time drain. Okay, and then interpreting information and syllogisms, they're the 2 mark ones. Venn diagrams can be a bit 50-50, bit iffy. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to talk about my general strategy. So first of all, it's really, really important to understand the theory why we have to choose certain questions to do. So first of all, the reason for exactly what I do over there. Okay, this idea of skipping to find the easy questions. With decision making, works slightly differently, but it works to our advantage because we actually know what questions are coming up, right? In QR, obviously, technically, you don't know which questions are coming up exactly. Obviously, you know that those questions, there'll be like percentage change questions, etc., etc. But in decision making, you know specifically what styles of questions are coming up, so therefore you can prepare for those. So my general strategy is, first of all, I start with syllogisms. Okay, and the one thing I want to say about my strategy is it's a somewhat fixed strategy, but it's quite loose at the same time. So I start with syllogisms, and because we have the arrow method for it, and the arrow method has gone quite accurately.
Bro, where's my water bottle gone? Oh, it's there.
It's quite like an accurate method. It means that we can use it quite efficiently. So you can see time-wise, I've done fairly okay here. 1 minute, 7:50, 32 seconds, 32 seconds again. I'm really, really happy with those. Okay, but you can also see I've got some other long questions in here, right? 1 minute 19, 2 minute 25. So the point with syllogisms is, before I head into decision making, I'm thinking I want to do all of the syllogisms if possible. But if I see a hard syllogism, like question 5, for example, right? I know I skipped this. I remember skipping this. I'm not sure if I skipped 3. Maybe I just took a little bit longer on it. But I know I will skip it because the point is, remember, you don't want to get bogged down. Okay, so remember, if I try to do this in the moment, yeah, I've got 3 or 4 questions right in a row, or I feel happy with those, but then I don't want the 5th one to bog me down. I want to keep that momentum up. So what I will do is I will skip it. And I know people are thinking, oh, but that's dreadful, syllogism is worth 2 marks. Right, I said I'm just going to skip it for now. I never said I'm never going to come back to it. Do you see? So on that first run through, I will do as many of these syllogisms as possible. If I get all 6 easy syllogisms, brilliant, I'll do all 6 of them. Normally it tends to work out to about 5, so normally I end up skipping about 1 or 2. Okay, and so importantly, the idea is, remember, syllogisms, because I'm happy with them, because I'm happy with the method, I can do them fairly well, fairly fast. Okay. Next is logical puzzles. So you can see here I've spent quite a lot of time on logical puzzles, but this time I did not spend on my first run through. I will always skip logical puzzles on my first run through, unless there's like one specific style of question. So not the 2-way tables. So I know we have a method for the 2-way tables, but they still take a ridiculous amount of time. So please do not do the 2-way tables. But I will skip the majority of these questions, and I'll just come back to them later, because logical puzzles are the biggest time drain. One of the worst things that you can do, in not just in decision making, but all of QI, is all of UCAT, is you start attempting a question, and then you spend about minute 30 on it, you don't really make progress, and then you start to think, okay, I've already spent a minute 30 on it, just give me another 30 seconds, I'll get it. You spend another 30 seconds, then 2 minutes turns into 3 minutes, then finally you decide to skip. So then you just spent 3 minutes on a question, right? And I know that it's quite difficult for people to skip when they get to the 1 mark region. And for myself as well, I think I would find it difficult to skip as well, which is why I try to avoid that situation where possible. Okay, and I avoid it by only doing the nice easy questions on my first run through. So that will mean no logical puzzles at all, because it's very, very easy to get caught in that like deep net of spending more and more time. Then so start off with doing as many of the syllogisms, skip all of logical puzzles, get onto recognizing assumptions. So recognizing assumptions are...
I really think that is possible what he's done here. Shit, bro. Bro, I actually kid you not yet. No one cares. But I actually kid you not, I was having nightmares, bro. I woke up at 3 a.m, yeah. I woke up at 3 a.m, yeah. I was like, oh my god, I don't want to do my exam. I did not wake up, but like, I woke up at 3 a.m. and I had heart palpitations. I was like, I don't want to do it. Anyway, yeah.
gold mine. Okay, brilliant set of questions. Right, you can see 13, 14, 15, 16. I average about 15 seconds on these. And you have to be very, very cynical, right? Once again, if you guys don't want to go back and watch my decision making anymore, like I said, it's on my channel, have a look at how cynical I am when I'm doing these questions, okay? Because that's the level you need to be at. Remember, the UCAT does not care about methodology, it only cares about the answers, right? And if you can do something like this is brilliant, because that means I've saved 40 seconds, 45 seconds, 47 seconds, 40 seconds per question, which I can put onto some of those harder syllogisms or harder interpreting informations. So I would always say to do recognizing assumptions. And also, recognizing assumptions is one of those areas where, like I said, we have specific techniques for, so we know we can pretty much almost guarantee getting these questions right. I do admit, yes, there are some hard non-clause questions, so if this terminology doesn't make sense to you, please do go check out my recognizing assumptions videos. Once again, they're very clearly divided under playlists. There'll be decision-making, recognizing assumptions. So some non-clause questions can be quite hard, but the clause ones definitely you should be getting right. So well-being and productivity, safety and affordability, like, you know, key ideas. To protect non-smokers, to reduce waste, etc., etc. Okay. So then we go on to interpreting information, which is my mortal enemy, as you can see. I despise interpreting information, unfortunately. I'm not that great at it. In my real, when I was doing the mock live, I can't remember how many of these questions I actually did. Normally, once again, I'll try and do as many of them as possible, but I just know that it won't happen, right? I'm just too bad at these questions to potentially even try and do as many as I can. So normally I end up skipping about half of them. Once again, that seems really bad, but remember, I've saved a lot of time here. My syllogisms have gone well so far, and I'm going to save time in the future as well. And I will come back to these, but it's just about getting into that flow state, okay? So, like I said, the game plan is to try and do as many of them as possible. But like you can see here, question 17, I definitely skipped, right? So 3 minutes 41. There's no way I would have spent 3 minutes 41 on my first run through on this, okay? But I was able to later on because I'd saved time and I realized, okay, I've done everything else. Now I can kind of just spend so much time and focus on this. So yeah, interpreting information is definitely my weakness. I know it's a lot of people's as well, but unfortunately, like I said, just do the easy ones that you can. So I think I got 22 right. Maybe I probably attempted 19. Actually, maybe not 19. Maybe 18. And 20 maybe, I'm not sure. Okay, so then I skipped interpreting information, probably about half of them. Then the next thing that we move on to is Venn diagrams. Venn diagrams is really, really important to understand the basis behind. So once again, I know I keep kind of almost plugging my own channel again and again, but the point is because those videos are already out there and available for you guys to use, and I want you guys to know about these videos. So if you haven't seen my Venn diagrams walkthrough videos, where I kind of specifically talk about which questions I should do and which ones I wouldn't do, it means that you know, those resources there. I don't want to have to repeat myself to make this video any longer. Okay, so therefore, please do just go and check out that video. And in it, I clearly explain which ones I do and which ones I don't. I will very, very quickly re-explain it, which is this idea of luck versus non-luck questions. So the luck questions are questions which you can't actively find an answer for. You just have to rule out options or just go through the options. So I'll tell you which one of these I would have done on my first run through. So the non-luck questions are the ones that you do. So here, this one I did because I just have to draw some Venn diagrams and figure out the answer. Okay, this one, 24, once again, I would have done, but perhaps not on my first run through, although I can't remember. Because
how many scholarship are these? Scholarship? 3 different, okay. 18.
I'm just looking for leadership scholarship, which is 3 different types of extracurricular activity. So that's 14 plus 20 plus 19 plus 18 as well. Okay, and then let's keep going. 25 I would have skipped because this is what I mean by luck-based, right? So here I was really unlucky because the answer's D. I just have to get through the answers. I'd have to go through the options, but I would just skip this. I'll just save it for later because if I'm lucky, the answer's A. If I'm unlucky, the answer's D. And I still did it fast. I can't remember exactly what I did during the mock. Once again, you can go back and watch it. But importantly, leave them for later. Which of the following statements is true? Once again, I would have skipped. A moment. Once again, would have skipped it again. 28, I would have done this because look, we're looking for an answer. Concierge service. Square, garage parking, hexagon, square, garage park, square and hexagon, square, hexagon, and at least one more. So the overlap is therefore between these two. So the overlap is between these and at least one more. So these three will qualify, I believe. So that's going to be 1921. Okay. So I did that really fast in the moment, so you can see 12 seconds. Which of one sentence is true? Would have skipped it again. Would have skipped it again. So you can see I probably skipped about the majority of Venn diagram. But once again, with Venn diagrams, it doesn't matter too much because they are only 1 mark. Okay. Finally, probability. This is my second gold mine. Love probability. So these questions are quite nice to do. So actually, this is still a Venn diagram question, I believe. Once again, I do this one because you can.
That's not true.
Do something like it. What's true of friends that watch hockey? You can see hockey is here and here, for example, they say they enjoy watching at least 2 types of sport. So those that watch hockey, it's at least 2 types because it's within the football one, basically. Okay. So, like I said, probability, big favourites. This is another one of the sections you can learn. So, abstract reasoning was removed from the UCAT for this year, and their reasoning was that it was too easy to learn. Okay, I completely agree with their reasoning. I mean, I don't think it should be removed because I think that parts of DM are very easy to learn. I think parts of QR are very easy to learn because you keep doing the same things.
The first day of the event, probably that it will snow, is 0.4. Second event, probably it will snow, 0.35. Probably that it will not snow on either day is greater than 0.1. Probably that it will not snow. So you want the probability. How would I do that actually?
Again. So I didn't understand their logic from that perspective, to be honest. So once again, it's just about. There's a probability. There's probably about 12 to 15 different styles of questions, and all you have to do is probably just go through, do as much practice as you can, and you will get good at these questions. Okay, so like here, for example, this is just it will not snow on either of the days. So 0.6 times 0.65, because this is the probability of it will snow, and multiply those two together. This one is it will not snow on either of the days. So 0.6 times 0.65, because this is the probability of it will snow, and multiply those two together. This one is probably like a considering only. This is a classic considering only question, and then 34 is another two together. Considering only question.
Two treatments. E can cure 0.15 F. Oh, E cures 0.85. Treatment F 86%. 2 in every 11 patients who take. Okay, we'll just do 2 over 11. Is treatment any better choice? No.
then finally, 35 I got wrong for a silly mistake, but nonetheless, I should.
Let me check 35. A family has 2 children. Huh?
Right. But the point is, the probability questions that come up repeat very, very often. Okay, so you can very much learn it. So normally I do all the probability, and they're normally fairly fast. So you can see 13, 26, and 53 was a bit long, but 21, and then this 11 should have probably been more like 20 if I just thought about it. But now I know, and I won't make that mistake again in the future. Okay. The other thing you can do as well is, so I'm just going to really, really quickly open up another screen. So here, the other thing in terms of how you can go back and really nail down some of these questions. So here, if I click probability, for example, I can see every single probability question I've got wrong. And what I'll do is I'll sit there and I will just, so once you guys have done enough practice questions, so you have enough questions to go through here, I'll just sit there and I'll just make sure I get all of these right. Okay, and I'll just go through them again, I'll really understand the logic, and I'll kind of try and drill them into my head, so the next time I get the probability question, I should be able to get it right. Okay, so just as a recap, and I've gone over a lot of stuff there, so I've only finished talking about my first run through, but that is the long bit. So first run through, I'll do as many of the solutions as possible. Normally I skip on average, about 1 or 2 of the harder ones. Skip logical puzzles completely, do all of recognizing assumptions. Once again, though, I just do want to say that this is like, if there was one particularly hard recognizing assumption question, it's fine to just, skip and move on. Or maybe if you think you have an answer, remember, guess it, choose an answer, flag it, and then you can always come back to it at the end, right? So that's what I was saying about, like, it's not necessarily a fixed thing. Obviously, if there is one hard question, so you might get a ridiculous probability question. I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying on average, this is normally what I do. Okay? So as many of the solutions as possible, skip all of logical puzzles, all of recognizing assumptions. I normally skip about half of interpreting information, although I'm trying to do all of it, I'm just not good enough for it. Then I'll skip probably a lot of the Venn diagrams, probably the majority, about 60%, and I'll do all of probability. Then I come to my second run through. And now I know that you guys have probably been screaming to me, and perhaps you could even put it in the comments already about, but what about the 2-mark questions? What about the 2-mark questions? Are you really skipping the 2-mark questions? Well, now this is when we come back to the 2.
He's averaging 500. The lowest I've ever gotten is 560. And that was on a mock, which I did like ages ago. When did I do that mock? I did that mock in June. That was with no revision of anything. I got 560. This guy's averaging 500. To be fair, I was in a flipping... Actually, I don't know why I got so low on that one.
Questions. And there is a theory behind this as well, because now when I come back to the 2-mark questions, I've done all the other ones I know I can do, right? I've rattled off all of my recognized stuff. I've done all my probability, so I can chill a little bit more, right? I can take a little bit more time on these harder 2-mark questions. Before, for example, if I try to do the 2-mark questions on my first run through, in my head I'm thinking, I can do the recognizing assumptions, okay? I can do the probability questions that are coming up. So you're kind of almost forcing yourself to go a little bit too fast, okay? Because you're worried that if you spend too long on this question now, you won't have time to do the other questions. But if you do it in the other order, so you get those ones out the way. Now you focus on these 2-mark questions, you'll still have time. And hopefully you should have time for this, because like I said, you will have done these ones fast, you will have done the probability ones fast, save some time hopefully on some of the other syllogisms and Venn diagrams as well. So then, yeah, once again, I'll probably finish off syllogisms, and I'll do my best to finish off interpreting information. I think in the other video, in the walkthrough video I did, I think I probably skipped about 1 or 2 of the interpreting informations, but that's because I thought they were horrible. Like, question 17 was a ridiculous question. Did not understand it at all, to be honest. So, yeah, like I said, it's a very, very loose thing. So, it's not the end of the world if you skip one interpreting information, or if you skip one syllogism. It is if you skip all of them, right? Because, look.
Okay. So, that just kind of got me all gassed up. But I mean... How? Bro, I thought, yeah, because decision making only had, like, you know, some videos. I was a bit happy. Why the flip does quantitative reasoning have 33 videos? It can't be that many questions, surely. I mean, bro, look, I got 690 on one. It can't be that hard. Yeah, bro, there's only 4 types. How's he done?
Hello guys, so
I mean, I know how tax brackets work, so I don't even know if I actually have to do this video, you know. Okay, I don't need the example. Bill has an annual taxable income of... Wait, why is he...
what would happen? So,
Why has he crossed this out? Okay, so he's got 895. Okay, then I would do 28,950. Take away 8,950. This is 20,000. And store 20,000 multiplied by 0.15. That's 3,000. 3895. B.
he who earns more goes home with less. Is it? So it's basically the real tax would be person A still pays no tax because it's all protected, so he still takes home 12,000. But person B this time, the first 12,500 of his income is protected. That's 0% tax. But then he pays 30% tax on what he earns in this bracket. And that's how tax works. You pay money on what you earn in a bracket. So if he earns £30,000, he only has to pay 30% of 500, which is...
Where is that said though?
£50. Okay, so person B takes home 13,000 minus
I don't get that. Doesn't make any sense.
£150, which is 12,850, which is a much more fair amount, as you can see. So yes, person B earns more than person A, and therefore he gets to take home more. Okay, although he is slightly taxed because he falls in the next bracket. So this is the only way in which tax can work to ensure that everything is fair. To ensure, first of all, that people are paid according to how much they earn, and secondly, so that there is an incentive to earn higher. Okay, does that make sense? So, carrying on from this idea then, so the important idea is tax is not one clear-cut number. Okay, you have to divide the amount of money you earn into certain brackets, and you pay tax on whatever you earn in that bracket. Okay, so I'll show you like a nicer way that I like to display it, and then we will go through this question together. Okay, so for example, it says, Bill has an annual taxable income of 28,950. To the nearest dollar, the income tax he has to pay is. Okay, so the way that I like to do it is I like to draw it like this. So 28,950 is the total amount he spends. Okay, so 28,950 is his total amount. Sorry, total amount he earns. And you can see the first 8,950 is going to get taxed at 10%. And we know we can do that in our heads, 895. So the total tax that our bill pays is 3,809. And question, perhaps.
Bro, you can't.
Okay. Route 36. Like I said, draw it out method. So.
You made that so much more complicated. I don't know what he was talking about at the start, to be fair. I don't actually watch the video, so that's just me waffling. Okay, he makes them 4,990. Okay, then he makes 50,000 takeaway 36. Whoops. 36,250. 13. Store that to memory. 13 that. Multiply by 0.25 is 34375. Now I'll probably do that in my head. Okay, it's really looking a lot larger. Oh, I forgot there isn't actually. I was looking at these options. I was like, wait, he can't earn any of this. Okay, we've got 5 plus 2 over 1, 18, 21. 2, carry 2 over, 18, 22, 4, carry a 2 over, 12, 15, 17, 17,
my calculator,
4,
it becomes
2,
27,000.
2.5.
That gives me 13,700.
Well, he's actually
a tax at 15%. This one's a little bit harder to do in my head, so I'm just going to put it into my calculator. 2,7,300 times 0.15 gives me 4,095. And
what?
the last amount, so from my $36,250 to my.
Oh, okay. So what did I done? All a bunch of gibberish, bro. What it would have been, which was 4,990, and then
$1,000. So that's 50,000 minus 36,250. That gives me 13,750, and that's taxed at 25%. Okay, so.
So let me just go back on this video because I generally don't. Let me go on my mocks actually. Let me go on these for my quantitative reasoning. Okay, 8 out of 36. We're gonna ignore that one. Gonna go on to my 25 out of 36. To be fair to me, I actually flagged these and went ahead. These ones. Yeah, I just wasn't used to answering these type of questions, I can't lie. Surely with this, you'll just do 675, take, do not do 675, take away 189, 486, 486, 486 over 675. I think I just took longer than I needed on these. Yeah, I completely. Yes, if I actually just did this faster, yeah, and I just had more time, I could have got 4 marks there. 4 marks. I got like 740. I reckon that's just practice then. I mean, I might as well just look through a live mock, see how he does in that. Guess we'll watch that as well. Okay, we'll look at that. We're just looking for any he doesn't actually have. Okay, I don't know why my thing's not loading. Do I really need to turn this off just to... Oh, it's not even turned on.
What about pentagons? 1, 2, 3, 4 pentagons. And is there anything else that I've missed?
I'll pick out a circle at random.
Picking out a circle at random. Wait, surely there's something I've missed. No, circle square. Okay. So in total, this is 21, 26, 31, 35. So it's going to be 13 divided by 35. Okay. Picks out 3 squares in place. What's the probability of now picking out another square at random? So it picks out 3 squares.
What did he do for this question? I'm so lost. Oh, I'm guessing he flagged and skipped this and he came back. Fucking hell.
Okay, let's review the incomplete. So that's probability of Alexander picking out a circle at random. Okay, so let's have to what's that? 1, 2, I'm going to go left to right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 circles. Hello everyone and welcome.
Okay, so yeah, I think I'm just gonna, just skip the shit. Don't need to flag them, because...
The channel. So today I'm going to be talking to you about one of the very few things which is universally hated by UCAT students, probably the most hated thing apart from UCAT itself, which is the damn UCAT calculator. Okay, so this pile of junk is one of the worst things about the UCAT, I would argue. It's quite impractical, pretty much useless, and in fact, some people hate the calculator so much it actually forces them to do mental maths, okay? And that's one of the points that I'm going to talk about a little bit later. But so what I'm going to do in this video today is I'm going to really quickly take you through all the important functions of the calculator that I think you should know, and then we will kind of take it from there, okay? So just the first couple of things to start off with. So firstly, whilst the calculator is there, it's not essentially the most efficient thing. So what I would say is you kind of have to assist the calculator. So that's the first point that I would talk about, okay? So make sure that you assist the calculator. So what that means is, if you're doing a calculation where you have to multiply 25, where you have to add 25 to 85 and then multiply that by 34, do the 25 to 85 in your head, okay? 25 plus 85 is 110, and then put 110 times 34 into your calculator, okay? So I'm not saying you have to do every single calculation in your head, right? But do the appropriate ones, okay? Don't completely spoon feed everything into the calculator. That isn't the idea. Mental maths can be really, really useful and is one of the best ways to be able to improve your speed here and there, okay? So that's one thing that's really, really important. The other thing I would say is, if you don't already own some kind of keyboard that has the keypad at the side, I would really, really recommend you guys to practice on a device that does. Okay, so the second point is practice using the keypad. Okay, so what I kind of like detail the keyboard shortcuts and stuff, but like really quickly, I'd say that you should use some of them. I would say you should probably use Alt-C and Alt-N. So Alt-N is next question, and Alt-C is to pull up the calculator. Those are the two that I predominantly use. And then, of course, you have to into your numbers and stuff, okay? So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the memory function. So I guess when I sat on my UCAL, which was 4 years ago now, I didn't actually understand how to use the memory function. I didn't even know it existed. Like I saw these letters on the calculator, I had no clue about how to use it. And I'm sure that might be the same with many of you guys as well. But I just wanted to talk you through it because it can be a useful tool. Okay, even now, to be fair, I don't really use it that often. Perhaps if you saw my QR walkthrough, I used it maybe in a couple of places. But even then, I find it sometimes nice to just write it down really fast. Just depends on how comfortable you are with using the memory. So the idea of the memory is if you guys have like a normal Casio calculator, it's on your calculator you have letters like A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so on and so on and so on. Because this calculator is quite a primitive version, it's exactly the same, but there's only one memory. So instead of having all these different letters, you only have one. So let's pull up a number. So I'm going to do 59 times 59. So to stick any number in the memory, you click M plus, and a little M appears. Okay, telling you that number's in the memory. Now to get rid of a number from the memory, there's two ways. Okay, so bear with me, I'll come on to explain them, and it'll make more sense in just a bit. So there's two ways. So one is what I call short-term removal, and the other is what I call long-term removal. Okay, so short-term removal is like if I put a number immediately in the memory. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm spamming between M plus and M minus. So imagine I put this number accidentally in the memory, my finger slipped or something, and then I click M minus. What that's going to do is it's going to basically get rid of that number from the memory. The M disappears. Okay, but let's imagine now I actually wanted to keep this number in the memory. So I put 3481 in the memory. I'm going to clear my calculator, and I'm going to go on to do another sum. Okay, 92, and now I want to do 92 multiplied by my old number. I'm going to do 92x, well, multiplication sign, or if you guys are using the keyboard, it would be the star sign. Star, and then I click MRC. So MRC stands for two things. It stands for memory recall and memory clear. If you click it once, it will pull the number back. Okay, so if you click it once, it activates the memory recall function. But if you click it twice, then it clears the number. So this is what I mean about long-term removal. Okay, but let's take it step by step. So I put a number in the memory. I go on and do a second calculation. I want to multiply this number by my number in the memory. So I click MRC, and you can see my number pops back up. I just click enter, and I get my next number. Okay, so I get this number now here. So to get rid of a number from the memory, once you've done a couple of stages, so like remember, M minus is short term. It's like immediately after you put a number in the memory, like if you made a mistake and you don't want the number in the memory, to get rid of it immediately, you have to click M minus. But you can see now, if I spam M minus, I'm not sure if this is visible on your screen, but nothing happens. And that's because M minus is only for the short term. So how do you get rid of it in the long term? Like I said, what you have to do is you have to click MRC twice, and the number will disappear. Okay, and then you click it one more time, everything's whole screen will go. Okay, so MRC is a really, really useful tool, but it's kind of bifunctional. One click recalls the number, two clicks clears the number. Okay, so this is what I mean about short versus long term. So, for example, if I was to do 45 times 45, stick it in the memory, oops, I made a mistake, pull it out, click M minus. Okay, so M plus put it in, M minus to take it out. So let's say I actually wanted that number in the memory, click M plus, go on and do my second calculation, 54 times 54. Now I want to add my old number, I click MRC once to bring it back. But if I actually wanted to clear the memory, I click MRC twice. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. So MRC is long-term clearance as well as just recall, whereas M minus is just short-term clearance, and M plus is just to put any number in the memory. Okay, so let's go over into some other kind of key ideas. So the other thing is that the memory function stays between questions. So what I mean by that is I put a number in memory, so the M is there, signifying it's still in memory. I open up my calculator, and you can see the same numbers. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Some other little nifty tricks that I think are useful is, so if you ever want to square a number, instead of doing 9 times 9, you can just do 9 multiplication sign, and it squares it. Okay, so once again, on your keyboard, that would just be 9, star, star, squares it immediately. Okay, just a nifty little trick that I came across. Another thing that's important, so I'm just going to get rid of the number from memory now. So you're probably thinking star, star does something, does divide, divide do something? Well, you may be thinking divide, divide probably square roots it. But the thing is, we actually already have a square root button. You can see that there. So instead of square rooting it, what it actually does is it finds the reciprocal. So if you do 5 divide, divide, or 5 slash slash if you're using your keyboard, you do 1 over 5, which is 0.2. Once again, I can do 56 divide, divide, and that gives me 1 over 56. So it's just like, it's not going to change your score massively, right? Like this isn't going to completely affect the way that you do QR, but it's just little things that my simple.
I did not know that was actually a thing. Okay, we're actually gonna try and bang this out, bro. If I get anything lower than this, man, I might have to retire, bro. I might have to retire. Okay, we can do this. There's a time vulnerable animal species. Sorry. Oh shoot, it's 546. So it was 546 total vulnerable. There's a 2.5% decrease. So we divide that by 0.975, 560. There are 10 species of reptile to one decimal place. What percentage of reptiles are threatened? 623 plus 783 plus 433. Alright, we're going to store that. And now, we're just going to do that divided by 10,196. 18%. I'm going to clear that from memory. The total number of bird species threatened in threatened categories increased by 40 the following year. And the ratio of bird species that were critically endangered to vulnerable was 16 to 9 to 5. How many vulnerables? Okay, 16 plus 9 plus 5 is 30. What? The total number increased by 40. Okay. So 732 plus 422 plus 216 plus now 40. How many vulnerable is 5 times by 5 times by 5 and divide by 21, 30, 235. Okay, the number of endangered insect species increased by 2.5. The number of vulnerable increased by the number of endangered insects increased by, okay, so we've got 960 times 1.025. We got, okay, 984. Number of vulnerable increased by 925 multiplied by 1.04 is 962. And then the other one stay the same, so 408. 962 plus 408 plus 984 is 2354. Okay. The table shows in over the course of Tom eats 3 servings of chicken and 3 servings of iron. How many grams? 3 chicken, 3 pork. Okay, shoot, my bad. 12 plus 30 divided by 7, 6. How many times the amount of protein 60 divided by 48? Okay, so 1540 to Turkey, which is 140 times 5, which is 700. Okay, got 1540 divided by 700 is 2.2. 2.2, 2.2. 2.2 times 4 is not 7. 2.2 times 10 is not that. Times 25 is 55, is C. The company made 110 batches of cereal in a given year. Yeah, I'm actually going to skip these. I'm going to skip this one as well, it looks dead. The table either pass or fail. so we got 4176 divided by 2784, 1.5. Okay, 1 to 1.5, 1 to 1.5 times 3 divided by 3 times 2 is B. The company says the target no more than 40% of units failing in quality tests should be destroyed. But how many units of this target for product Z? Okay, so we got 3127 plus 3073. 3073 over 3073 plus 3127 is 6200. Multiplied by 0.4 is 2400. Take away 3073, 593. The portion of product W that were tested, the product Z, that passed testing was 5 to 4, 5 to 4. So 512 bruh, divide by 4 times by 5. Oh bro, this is dead question, I'm skipping that. The table shows the type of duration of cars leased by an airport over 1 year. Some cars are hired longer than 21 days. What was the total number of large and SUVs that were hired for more than 21 days? Shit, man. Okay, so we have 1436. Now we have 630 plus 192 is 822. So it's most likely going to be 4 to 7 days. That's just a guess. Right, what's the ratio of median cars hired for 4 to 7 days? 6 to 8. To hired for other durations. So just 4140. Take away 828. 828 is 3312. 3312. 3312 divided by 628. That's 1 to 5.2. 1 to 5.2 times 1 to shit is 5.27 times 3 times 16 is probably about that one, yeah. All vehicles in front of me. What was it about to increase? Looking decent, looking decent. The table shows the number of sales of 4 different games from a toy retailer from quarter 1 of year 2 to quarter 1 of year 2. All of the percentage increase from quarter 4 year 1. Okay, table for quarter 2 of year 2. That many. We're going to store that. There were 15,816 divided by the answer. Oh my lord, what the fuck did it just give me? Let me clear whatever the fuck's in there. 12,298 times 0.86 is 12,298 times 0.86 is that. Okay, I want to store that. I'm going to do 15,816 divided by answer. Oh. I'm doing something wrong. Hold on. 12,298 multiplied by 0.86 is 10. We're going to store that, right? And now, oh shoot, I know what I did wrong. But it was 12,298 divided by 0.86 is 14,300. Now we're going to store that. Now it's 15,816 divided by that stored value is 10.6%. Oh my flipping lord, bro. In quarter 4 year 1, what is the ratio sales of air hockey 3960? Well, let me clear the thing actually. 3960 divided by 0.75, 5280 air hockey to pool tables, 8976 divided by 0.88, 2000. Okay, we're going to do that divided by 5280. That's 1 to 9.3. It's pretty much that, but we're going to do times by times 23. Does not get you that, so we're going to then divide by 23 times by 35 divided by 35 times by 47 divided by 47 times by 44. Okay, it's there. How much do the sales of air hockey need to increase from 4950 by 396. Shit. Just 25%, surely. When the sales of chessboards are included, the mean number of game sales is okay, 7707 take away 1298, take away 3960, take away 8976, take away 8736. 4, 5, 5, 6. Okay, these are some of the final questions, so we can kind of relax. Rushes the mean several years. If the air pollutant in year 5 is 22% higher than the average of the previous 3 years, okay, so we have 83.57 divided by 1.22, it was 68.5. 68.5 of times 3, take away 64.96, take away 60.2, we got 80.34. Flipping out. Bro, that was a single one, I'm pissed. The table shows the amount of annual electricity for 500 power plants. How many weeks would it take for the Serene Full Dam to generate the same amount of electricity? Wait. We're just gonna do 10, 1, 2, 3 times, what's it? Times 3 divided by 4. Okay, so we got 82500. Same full dam. 7800 divided by 52. So 150 a week. 150 weeks. So we got 82500 divided by 150. I got 550. Because I don't actually know how many weeks are on a year. I actually don't know how many weeks are on a year. Okay. So what is the major categories? 8,100 castles in a country. I expect structural picture. How many times the number of Chateau castles and castles that are ruined? Okay, 639 plus 296 is 935. Remember, Hilltop Castles 748, 748, 748. Divided by 748, 25%. Yeah. The table shows the number of email users and the number of emails sent over a 5-year period. How many more marketing emails were sent and received per user? 323 divided by 425, 76 in year 5, in year 1. 213.6 divided by 3.56, 60. 76 divided by 60 is 26. Oh shit. 76 times 0.4. 76 times 0.48 is 22.08. It'll just be slightly more. It'll just be slightly more. We're going to flag it and then we're going to go to the screen. Oh shit, we haven't done a lot. I'm going to do one. We're going to do this one. Okay. If a company made 110 batches of serum given year, I can't lie, I'm skipping this one. C flag skip, C flag skip, C flag skip, C flag. Okay. C flag skip, C flag skip, C flag skip, C flag skip. Let me go to review screen. I'm gonna do this one. This one seems about. Okay. Table shows a price difference of outdoor games. 2 packs. Each paving slab is 50 by 50. Okay, so you have 40 times 50 times 50 divided by 10 meters squared. Kim bought some Acatite paving slabs in a pack of 20. You know what, yeah? We're going back to this. We're going back to these questions. Okay. I don't even know that quite. Yeah. I think I give up. I can't fill that in time. I really can't. I don't have the time to do that. Fucking 6 Oh, 690. No technique. Well, to be fair, I did have to end up skipping a bunch of them, but still. understand what that question was asking. Read the question wrong. Read the question wrong. So that's me doing all the maths, just read the question wrong. Okay, so I could have realised I didn't actually have to even do it. I don't know why emojis just came up. What I would have done was 308 divided by 140 is 2.2. So that's 2.2 to 1. So what I would have done was 2.2 to 5 is 11. So I'm guessing I saw it. I was like, it's close enough. So yeah, I mean, I would have done that. I don't understand why I really went, how I went wrong really. Yeah, I think it's good I skipped these ones. Ozzy, do I think it's unlucky that when I guessed I'm just gonna guess E for them next time. Or A. I'll guess A. A flag and A flag and A flag. Yeah, because do I think it's unlucky that I only got 1? Yeah. But I think I should have skipped these ones. These look like longer ones. Where did I go wrong here? Oh shoot, so what I should have done was 512 divided by 4. 128 times 5. 640. Take away 3582. Take away 2934. Yeah. Okay, so that's 3 marks. Yeah, I kept that one as a guess actually. That's the only one I attempted. These just seem to take long. We'll see if that guy has a technique for that. I didn't even attempt that. Look at this. What's the ratio of medium? if it's... Why did I just write down 2991? 3312. Why did 3312? Yeah, I don't know. I should have got that if I just spent a bit more time. Yeah, that one took me a while, so I didn't understand what it was asking me. So I got 935. Yeah, I should have done that. If I just read the question right, that would have been a mark. Because I could have gained 6 marks if I just relaxed, I suppose. If I got 27, that would have been 710. But it's like, oh yeah, if I did perfect on all my math, I would have got that. Like, no shit, bro. Let me get glasses clean up. I'm really disappointed in that because obviously that's dropped my average by a lot. Actually, no, I think I would have increased my average because I think my average before that was like a 400, I think. Or a 500 actually. It might have been a 500. Which is also better than a 400. Ow. Anyway, yeah. Look at my marks. And my quantitative reason is actually higher now. So if we do look at my averages, actually 664 plus 607 plus 520. Oh my lord. I'm not even at the 800 mark. So yeah, my average for quantitative reason, I'd say it's decent still. It's just the other ones really. Verbal reasoning I've done the most marks of as well. I suppose it's one I had the best increase, 500 to 600. It's a 20% increase. Actually, it's probably this one, 640 to 560. Oh no, it's not. Probably this one then. 470 to 690. Yeah, that's actually a 50% increase. That's actually a lot. Okay, so the questions. One I took the longest on was this. That was purely because of just one question taken nearly 3 minutes. I completed all the other ones with decent speed, to be fair. I should have skipped these. Let's say hypothetically I average this for a minute. Yeah, I could have just got this done. Okay, let's see if he has a table one.
Hello guys, so this has been one of the most requested videos recently, so I...
Geometry tricks? I don't even know geometry, so I'm going to ignore that. I'm just kind of curious, what is the triple lock?
Now, here in Westminster, a lot of people are obsessed with the pension triple lock. They're wondering whether it could almost bankrupt the state, certainly whether it could be affordable in the coming years. But what does it actually come back to? It's worth just explaining what this really is, because it matters for all of us, even if you're not actually collecting your pension at the moment. And the key point here is it's all about this rule about deciding how much the state pension is going to increase each year. This is just showing you the basic state pension and how much it's gone up in recent years. And the triple lock basically says, you know, once upon a time, pensions mostly went up in line with earnings. But this is a new rule, and it said that whichever of these is higher, whether it's the baseline of 2.5%, whether it's CPI inflation, and this last time around, so last year, inflation...
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know, my name is Kate, and today I've made the decision that I really want to be documenting my UCAT journey.
I want to see what you got.
One thing, definitely go to the toilet before your exam, because you don't want to be wasting time leaving the exam centre and go to the toilet, because the UCAT is already such a time pressured exam. To be empathetic and patient confidentiality, all those. Second biggest tip is to use mental. Do all the questions on there, because at the end of the day, you guys can see.
Chat, she can't be real. Or to be fair, she's probably doing better than me in the UCAT. So I can't even talk. I'm watching flipping YouTube videos, bro. So we can apply this to I do need to get up and have a breakfast and that in a minute.
Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be covering some...
This nigga just say 900.
of these multi-step questions. I just want to say a big thank you to you guys for all of the growth on the channel, and especially for the past month. We've been hitting some crazy numbers.
Actually, to be fair, I didn't even look at the question. I could have actually looked at it. That would have helped. Illustration cost and sales data for Blue Zoom. Okay, so what I should have done, what I would have done was 2600. Well, actually, no, it was 26.1 plus 117, 378, 378. You know, 378 over 11879.1. Okay. Suppose I'm a fucking idiot then. Basic factory color. 26100 plus 1700. 378. 37800 divided by 1. Do I have to divide this? Do I have to divide this for all of them? This is a long question as well. Okay, 11879 100 take away 26 100. Careful. Sat nav and heated seats both at a 20% discount. So I would store this to value. I press M store. I then do 11700 times 0.8 93600. Write that down. Heated seats. Add that to the 9600 and then add that to the previous value. I would have, done loops. I'm glad I skipped this. I would have done loops around this. Okay. So we have so yeah. That's pretty much it, actually. Like, I got all the questions. This, silly mistake. This, yeah, waste time. And yeah, let's just speed then. Okay.
But especially thank you for all the emails and lovely kind of messages you've been sending in telling me about how your tests have gone. And a big shout out to each and every one of you, right? Remember, it's not about the score. The UCAT in itself is a big journey, and it's a big step, hopefully one step closer to securing a place at your dream medical school. So thank you, and please do keep those messages coming in. So let's have a look at this question. So in 2021, Company B's revenues were 56,000. In 2022, Company B's revenues were the same as expenses in 2021. What expenses did Company B incur in 2022? When I read this think, what is going on? So remember, in those questions, you normally skip and you come back to them. So when I skip, it's on my mind, I'm thinking, I literally have no clue about this at all. So it's probably one of the very, very last questions I come back to. Importantly, I'll probably read the abstract here. So it says, the graph shows the profit margin percentage of the company A and B from 2017 to 22. And if you look down here, we've got some important ideas. So if you see the graph has the profit margin percentage, that's probably going to be quite useful. And this asks about the expenses that company B incurred. So if you have a look at this here, so profit margin percentage equals the profit divided by revenue times 100. But then profit is equal to revenue minus expenses divided by revenue times 100. So it's probably likely that's how we're going to work out our expenses. So for 2022, let's set it up. For 2022, the percentage for company B was 43%. 43 equals the revenue, which says it's the same as the expenses in 2021. So we're going to have to eventually work that out. Minus the expenses, which is what we're trying to work out, divided by revenue times 100. Okay, so we have to set up the exact same equation for 2021 actually. So once again, percentage equals revenue minus expenses, or revenue times 100. So for 2021, the percentage is 41. The revenue it says is 56,000. The expenses, that's what we're trying to work out, and that's E, and that's exactly the same as this revenue here, because it says in 2022, the company B's revenues were the same as the expenses in 2021. Then divide that by 56,000 times by 100. So you see, you can cut off both of those points there, and so sorry, you can simplify that. And so 560 times by 560 times that by 41, which gives us 560 times that by 41.
Let me see how I would do this question, man. I don't like drawing equations and that. Equations are for when I don't understand and things are going slow. So if I did in 2021, rev is 56,000. 2022 rev, we don't know. Expenses, we don't know. Expenses. So in 2021, because the rev profit margin was 41%, right? Okay. So what we're going to do is 56,000 multiplied by 0.41, 296 expenses in 2022. Company's B revenue was same as its expenses, which is 29,600. What expenses did company B incur in 2022? Well, 2022, if the profit margin was 43%, that means 67 of the revenue was expenses. So 0.67. That's nice. 600. 0.67 times 22960 is 54383. I may have done the first one wrong there. Anyway, we'll just see.
Apply this principle, this equation to both parts here. So you have to apply for 2021 and 2022 and have the realization to do that. Here, it was like the only thing you could really do because, like I said, I set up 2022 first of all, but then I realized I was missing two variables. I had an R and an X.
Yeah, you see, it's actually 69. 6960. Oh my lord. Yeah, it was actually 0.69 times 5600, which made it 38640. Then 0 times 0.67 was 25.
This is what we're trying to work out. And R I have to work out by doing another equation, so therefore I had to set up 2021 as well. Okay?
I think you've done something wrong there. So the expenses, we don't agree on the expenses. Hold on, if revenue.
Parts here. So you have to apply for 2021 and 2022 and have the
revenue. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm doing this on my calculator because just fuck this shit, bro. It's so stupid. Alright. Okay. So we got 5600, right? 5600 times 59, because it was times 59, is 33040 expenses. Next makes revenue here 33040, and now we know was the expenses in 2022? Well, we know 57% was that. So we're going to do that times 57. We get 18,832.8. Yeah.
Here, that's like the only thing you could really do because, like I said, I set up 2022 first of all. But then I realized I was missing two variables. I had R and an X. And X is what I'm trying to work out. And R I have to work out by doing another equation. So therefore I had to set up 2021 as well. Okay. Let's go on to.
Okay. In 2017, the expenses incurred by both companies were the same. Okay, so we got B, we got A. Expenses, X, X. By what percentage were the revenues earned Okay, so it has 3 times the profit, right? Okay, so expenses is that. Okay, we're going to revenue, right? So revenue for company B no, yeah, we're just going to do it in a ratio, actually. We're going to do it in a ratio. Company B was 55% profit, 45 expenses. Company A wait, no, the profit margin was 55%. No, the profit margin was 45p to 55e. A was 85p to 15e. I don't know, actually.
Okay, so see if you can try and do this one perhaps using some of the ideas and logic that. Okay, so this next one is a little bit tricky. So let's have a look at this. So in 2017, the expenses incurred by both the companies are the same. By what percentage of the companies owned by company B greater than the revenues earned by company A during that year? So once again, probably going to have to use the same equation, right? So profit margin equals percentage times 100. So profit margin for, let's say this is for A, is therefore percentage, which equals profit minus revenue, which is just revenue minus expenses, divided by revenue times 100. So this is 15%, but then I'm going to bring the 100 over, so basically becomes 0.15 equals revenue. And this is what we can do. We can do an interesting thing, where it becomes revenue over revenue minus expenses times revenue. Okay, oh, I forgot the 100 is no longer there. So you can basically split it. So it looks like this. And because of that, you basically get 0.15 equals 1 minus E over R. So expenses over revenue equals 0.85 for A. Okay, and you know the expenses is going to be the same for both. Okay, so therefore expenses over 0.85 equals the revenue for A. If we do the same thing for B, so it's percentage equals expenses divided by revenue times 100. So percentage here is 45. We do the same trick again, bring the 100 over, which equals 1 minus E over R. That 1 minus comes from this idea here. I'm just skipping a step. So 0.45 equals, if I appropriately rearrange, E over R equals 0.55. So E over 0.55 equals R of B. By what percent of the revenues earned by company B greater than the revenues earned by company A during that time period? So to work out this answer, it's, so remember, E over 0.85, so R over A is, you basically have to do 1 divided by 0.85, 1 divided by 0.85, which gives you 1.17, 1.176, blah, 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 so on. So the 1.167E, that's the revenue for A. And then for B, it's E divided by 0.55, so that's 1 divided by 0.55, which is 1.818E.
I don't get what he's done there, though. I did accounting, bro. Hold on. So profit margin for B 0.45 is equals R over E. And we've got 0.15 is equal to R over E. I guess you can make, no, actually 0.45 is the profit over revenue is 0.15 for A is profit. We need to taste too expensive, but profit is just revenue minus expenses. Profit is revenue minus expenses. I don't even know.
So by how much percent of the revenues earned by B greater than A? So B is here, this is A. So 1.818E minus 1.176E divided by 1.176E. Or of course, there was the faster way to do it as well. Maybe you guys can remind me what the faster way was in the comments down below to work out percentage change. And so therefore this is going to become 1.818 minus 1.118 minus 1.176 divided by 1.176, and you get 54.59 basically is what I got rounded, 54.59%. That's how you work it out. So it's complex. This is a tricky set of questions indeed, but this is the way to go about doing it. Okay, but once again, we're relying on using that equation and just messing with it until we can hopefully get the answer. That's all it is. Okay. Okay, so for this one, we're looking at 2019. The revenues earned by company A and B were these numbers. By what percent was the profit made by company B greater than that made by company A? So profit margin percentage, which we'll do up here. So for A, profit margin percentage equals profit divided by revenues times 100. Okay.
Okay, man. I'm hungry and I need a shower and that, so